This computer. There we go. So we've called to order. We have approved the agenda. We have taken attendance, and we had no actions that other than calling to order and adjourning in the prior meeting. I will accept a motion or entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I second.
Oh, I need to hear somebody move
I
first.
first.
All
I
right.
moved to approve the minutes. Yeah.
All right. And Mr. Colina was our second. Anybody doesn't want to approve them, we'll go ahead and say that it passed by acclamation. We can open the floor. Marcia, if there's anything that you wanted to say as the lone non-officer member that is here in this meeting,
no.
This is an opportunity for member comment.
No, I'm just, eager to see what you guys are up to, and because I'm in I'm winding down from the job I had that was real intense, and I'm trying to catch up backlogs and stuff. So
Gotcha.
hopefully I will have more time in the future to be active. But meanwhile, I'm just really thrilled you guys got the ball and are running with it. Yay.
All right. Thanks so
Okay.
much, Marcia. Next item on our agenda, Miss Herrera has an announcement that she needs to share with us.
Yes, a very unfortunate announcement. So I found out on Saturday that my Army National Guard unit is activating us for up to 120 days in support of COVID operations. Pretty much I'll be passing out supplies and probably breaking down boxes. I hope that my activation for myself won't be 4 months. It should, if they accommodate the issues and conflicts with my job, should only be 60 days. Hopefully, they're trying to work with it, but it's very last minute, and I will pretty much be out the house and out the door next week, early next week. I'm still going to try to do everything I can remotely on my off time. So you guys I'm not going to disappear and pop smoke on you guys. I'll still be doing my duties as much as I can remotely. I just most likely won't be able to show up to the socials. Hopefully I'll be off by the time our meetings start in the evenings. So if there are any issues or conflicts, I'll let you guys know though. And I'll send whatever I wanted to say to you guys so somebody can speak in my place.
All right. Mr. Stevens, I believe you have some fun stuff to talk to us about with Slack.
Yes. Can I just share my screen?
Yeah, I have to make you the host to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right,
Make
so
host.
I have.
There you go, sir.
Okay, I did that. Okay, we're gonna move this over here, and then we're just gonna share my whole screen. Hey, all right, there we go. So here is sort of the start of the Slack. I do believe that I have done the more difficult job of making sure that everyone can see. So for example, I sort of just named this the Key 4 channel because there's 4 officers. I'm fairly certain everyone can see this, but
Okay.
I have to, and admin has to approve people who can talk in it.
Okay.
I think so. Past that, I've created a few other channels, general, off-topic channel, upcoming events channel. So here I have, so here's our February officer meeting event. Here's our, I misspelled that. Here's our discussion with Professor Horowitz event. So I want to take a few more days once it is not this week and I'm not
in the middle of
studying for
midterms.
finals. Oh, we're on quarters. This is just finals.
Oh, got
for me.
it. Finals. Got it.
So I want to spice this up a little bit. I might automate some stuff away so I don't have to type in events. I'll try and link the website as well.
Okay.
But this should pretty much be good to go. I'm definitely not pulling from my Boy Scout units. experience
Setup.
on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so this should be good. We should be able to activate this for the long term. Again, the only problem with Slack is unless we want to fork over a hot bit of money to Slack to pay for it as a software as a service in the long term, we're not going to be able to look back like 10 years or even 2 years. Oh, hey, what did he say 2 years ago about this one random thing? So I think that's the only real downside. I don't think that's a problem we'll be dealing with.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Awesome. So you're going to be sending invitations for us when it's ready, and then who would be approving new people once that's done, and do you have an idea of how we would want to do that?
My thought is I don't think we're going to get hundreds of thousands of people.
me
As much as our board is absolutely amazing, yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting 100,000 people in here. I'll just you guys will all be admins. We can just do it manually. I'll try
Okay.
and pick up most of Slack. See what I did there. Yeah, Slack's
Oh, I
always
got it.
open. Slack is always open on my computer because I use it for Scouts, and then
Okay.
also I'm in the big Libertarian Party Slack.
Got it. Yep.
So anytime it'll just ping me, and I can run in and do that.
All right.
I yield.
All right, sir. Mr. Kalina, last I heard, you needed an address and you had a short-term solution for that.
Yes,
Where
yes,
are we
because
with our bank?
we're good. I gave them my address and proof of address and everything like that.
Okay.
Because of the Patriot Act, they have to have a physical address. So thankfully, due to government intervention, it just prolonged the process. But we should have everything wrapped up and have our logins tomorrow.
All right, awesome. And what are we going to need to do on building a donation page? Is it something that we can do within the processor and then we can just embed on the website, or how are we going to link to it like we do with PayPal now?
So essentially the way that it works is it's what's called a gateway. So there's what's called a G2 plugin interface that plugs into whatever website you're using that
Okay.
would take that payment information and give the option for recurring billing and things like that. So we would plug that into our website, but it doesn't have the ability for us to build a website off of that. It's just a plugin that
Right.
we use
Okay.
on the website.
All right. Cool. Any questions for Mr. Colina? I think it feels like we've talked about this a bunch. Hearing none, I will move on. Item number 9, no pressure social event for our LPF registered. So we talked about voter data last time, and I'm host again. Okay, cool. I am going to share my screen this time. We talked a little, and I shared with you guys the, oh, hey, multiple. Well, that's cool. All right, well, I fixed it so we can all share our screens. So we talked a little bit about using this map, and Mr. Kalina shared that this is how the county divvies up the county into zones, 11 zones. You see the different colors. Starts up in Tarpon Springs with 1 and ends down in Pinellas Point with 11. I used that to create this. Oh, nope. Yeah, there we go. So we talked this, you guys all got the email. I don't want to go, I'm showing a very generic one because it has voter data and I don't want that to be shared publicly. So I'm using stuff that we've created for our use there in what I'm sharing currently. But it should be the entire registration disk for Pinellas for people who have registered LPF. And then you have 11 tabs that break it down into zones. And then on the registered by zip, I shared at the business meeting last week, there was a question about registered LPF per capita. And so I have done that. This is not by registered voter. This is by the population of these particular zip codes. And so that is now something that I can share with you guys. I did this while I was in between my previous meeting and this one. So we've got honestly, our hotspot, our biggest one, I think, is Crystal Beach with 0.77% of the population registered LPF, all 10 of them, and a zip code that has 1,294 people. But more realistically, I think St. Pete, there are several zip codes there. 33701 is one that's got a lot. Zone 11 has a lot. And that's down the Pinellas Point way. But you see 33701 has 0.61%. 33716 has 0.53. Mine is actually kind of sad. We're 0.26 in 33710. But so this gives us an idea of where they are and how that works with the population of those particular zip codes. So thoughts on what kind of thing we can do? Do we would just want to have something, for our first invitation as we try out contacting these folks? We kind of need to start with how we want to interact with them before we get into the nitty gritty of what we're going to do with the data that we have. The nitty gritty is actually the easy part. We slap some labels on something that we get printed up, but we need to know what we want to promote and how we want to promote it to them before we really get started in doing the mailing aspect of things. So what do we want to do? Do we want to do something virtual that we, kind of target specific parts of the county to see how well it works? Do we want to wait until we're at a time where we feel a little more comfortable about meeting in person? Do we just want to invite them, give them several things that we have upcoming and go with that? Like, this is really an opportunity for us to kind of talk about how we want to engage with them in the reaching out that we do via mail, since we do have their, mailing address.
This is Camilo. I would say that, I think we would want to do maybe a little bit of both, like in person and online. So we give those people an opportunity that are still not comfortable with being in public or have limitations to where they can't go in public because they're high risk or whatever. And then those people who simply are okay with going in public, the opportunity to attend like our coffee social that's coming up and other things like that. The more interaction we get with our base, the more we spread the base, and then the more they're likely going to contribute to the party that's going to allow us to help further grow it.
Okay. Hit us, Jasmine. Just go.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt anyone.
Yeah, no.
So I think for kind of to caveat a little bit off of what Camilo said, maybe mail or email out the invitations for the virtual stuff at first for those people, for our voter base, and then kind of keep track of like who subsequently like goes or like responds versus like who doesn't respond. That way we don't keep spamming them to the point of them getting annoyed with us. And then for the in-person stuff, I like the idea of, like we've talked about before, hitting in like targeting those hotspots and then mailing out personalized invitations so they know it's something that's not too far from them. And hopefully those people who live in those hotspots will be more apt to go. It looks like those larger locations, some of those are actually right down the street for me. I'm in 33702, right off of Gandy and 4th. And I know 33716, my old address is right up the street.
Right.
And 01 is right down the street. So I'm pretty sure there's a ton of places we can figure out here once people are more comfortable meeting in person. Maybe like early this summer, we could do like a summer bash or something, and try to see if we can get those people out. Because I'm sure if we offer like free food or like even like a like a mixer,
Open
like
house
we were saying.
concept is what I love to do for stuff like this,
Yeah.
because it gives them an opportunity to come and meet us. Usually in person. It's something that's been very effective that I've used in the past. Of course, not had voter data so that we could, pinpoint exactly who we want to have there. But
Okay.
so yeah, I think that would work out pretty well for us when we can do stuff IRL. Do we want to try to standardize like we have our business meetings? Do we want to try to standardize the coffee talks, or do we want to see how that goes before we standardize when they happen? Because I know for March we have the first Saturday, but we've confirmed Nick for the second Saturday in April. I think it was Nate I was telling that I really like alliteration when it comes to that. So I don't know if you noticed, but our business meetings are on the third Thursday, and then our coffee talks would be the second Saturday.
Good idea.
Makes it really easy for us to do, so we can work on scheduling May and beyond. That they're just second Saturdays, and we'll just kind of go with how the coffee talk goes in March, and then move to what they are later on. They can just be second Saturdays going forward.
For events in general.
Well, just for the coffee talk thing, we can actually, because we're talking about having stuff printed, postcards printed to send. We want to make sure that the information is timely. We want to make sure that we have enough, because we're talking about mailing to 2,884 people approximately. We don't want to do 11 print runs. We want to have something that we can kind of set. So it would be introducing us, when our business meetings are, when we have the coffee talk stuff, and how they can engage with us on social media, that kind of a thing. That might be our best bet, is just to do something that's somewhat generic, but we can still kind of see where we get good response from.
I like that idea. The other thing I want to bring up with the trying to get those in-person socials to try to get more of those people to come out is raffles.
Raffles. Are there any gambling laws in Florida? Because I know that we had trouble doing stuff like this in Georgia and Indiana when it came to raffles. Anything we have to look at there from a legal perspective?
Not from raffles, as long as it's not something where we're like raffling anything illegal or anything like that. But otherwise, traditional raffles,
be doing that.
Like if we were doing like raffling stickers or shirts or stuff like that, that's all fine. And then money raised we can apply to the party, as long as we adhere to standard state guidelines on what the donation amounts would amount to.
Yeah, and I know the military has strict laws against gambling, but they do raffles all the time. So
gotcha.
Yeah. I don't think it counts.
Oh, sure. Sorry, I feel bad I interrupted. For no reason whatsoever, I happen to know that the gambling age is 18 down here, opposed to Illinois' 21. There's no reason I might need to know that, or would know that for any reason. Florida is like one of the loosest gambling law states, if I recall correctly. I'm looking at statutes right now.
Okay. Yeah, I know that when we did, because we did poker tournaments in Indiana, we were able to do raffles, but we had to do them. It was a dollar amount of what you gave. It was crazy. I just didn't know what we needed to be on the lookout for and how that was considered here. So with regard to the voter data, we really just need to design something, which shouldn't take much. I mean, this took me a couple minutes today. I'd like to use the yellow as something that's big and eye-catching in their mailbox. I see a lot of stuff that just kind of looks like everything else and gets tossed in the trash. But the yellow might actually help us stand out a bit. That's actually why I tried this out, to see how that looked. I would probably make this gray, but do something a little different, using our 3-color scheme and our current typography, or for the font there. And then we can just have important things that they need to know, where they can, where they can send other people to register LPF, how they can get in contact with us, URL, business meetings on the third Thursday. Let's see, coffee talks the second Saturday, and just kind of go from there. Really, that's kind of all we need to have to start. We just slap their address label on the right side, and maybe we write a little note about how we would love to see them there. This would be a good volunteer event for us as well. And when we show this activity, it's a good fundraising event. It shows people that are giving to the party that we are actually doing something with their money, instead of it going to things just like Zoom and our website and some of those things that, aren't as exciting and aren't really as outreachy as they could be. Did anybody have any questions about the stuff that I sent out? Because I didn't really hear a lot back from you, and we didn't get to talk too much about it at the business meeting. Okay. So pretty straightforward then. All right. The next thing that we had on here was thank yous. Miss Herrera, I had you down for 5 minutes. So I took it upon myself with this, I guess, when I started getting the notifications about our recurring donations or any donation that we got, and sending the thank you emails, because that's probably one of the things that we should be the best at doing, since we don't have a whole lot of people that we have to contact. We should be really thanking them. Did you get the one that I sent you the other day, Jasmine?
Yeah, thank you for your thank you.
You're welcome. So I wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that they were going through. I haven't heard back from anybody that I sent them to, but I do like to
I didn't know I was supposed to reply.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that you should. I just wanted to make sure that, there wasn't something with my address that I was going to spam or
I mean, they could be in other people's folders,
okay.
But like
You're getting my messages.
Yeah, because we've messaged back and forth, so that could be why. So no clue, but
right.
Yeah, my one question about that is I don't think I get the recurring donation messages.
Okay. Yes. So it's sent to the LP Pinellas at gmail.com, because that's the email address that's set up with PayPal. Once we have everything squared away tomorrow, with the payment processor, we'll see how we can set up those notifications. I'm sure that it will be something that we can do.
Maybe the officer's email.
Yeah, I mean, we can use the officer's email. We can set up. The other thing that I was thinking is we could round robin it so that no one person is responsible for it. That was kind of why I sent the one, I think a week or so ago, that was like, hey, anybody else want to try this? So like March could be somebody, and then April could be somebody else, and May could be somebody else, and then it could be back around to me in June or whatever.
We can BCC, be officers, or CC. That way we all see that the person already hit it and got it done.
Okay. Well, I mean,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut off.
Oh, no.
Or cut you off, but the process actually with this processor will allow us to automate that. So we can craft like an automatic email, and
you can always tell they're an automated reply.
Sure, but that's good for if for some reason we don't get to it on time, because it's really helpful, especially if they don't remember doing it. So we send, typically what I recommend to my clients who have recurring is to send an automated email 7 days prior and then 3 days prior. Now, if we want to send something personalized, we can always certainly do that, but this way we at least have our bases covered to remind them twice, hey, X dollars is coming out on X date, coming from the Libertarian Party. If you have any questions, contact us, because we want them to reach out to us to cancel rather than calling their bank or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
We can also, instead of doing like a straight up automation, if we want it more personalized and we think we're going to forget later, whenever you do have free time or you get your reminder like, hey, it's your turn, you could always schedule send like from Gmail. That way it's less automated. Like, I won't say why I know that trick when I'm supposed to say I'm, alive and started working when I'm like sleeping, but schedule send is your friend.
Well, so the thought that I had was that we would do like a month at a time. You would just handle that month's donations, and
Yeah.
I can just set up the forwarder to go to you, because right now they are forwarded to me, and then I can set it up.
To
Let's say
all
Jasmine wanted
officers.
to do it. Well,
Okay.
I would rather we did it in pieces.
One by one. Okay.
Yeah. So
I figured it'd
maybe
be easier for you if you set it up to like all officers. That way we all at
No.
least see it. Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's better, I think, if we just
Change the
Otherwise-
forwarder monthly.
just change the forwarder monthly. I mean, I have to change it 12 times a year, big deal.
Okay.
And then we can just, we can BCC the officers as the on those thank yous. And that way everybody, you can, I did a very generic, just, hey, wanted to thank you guys for your contribution. This is what it goes for, and kind of give a reason for thanks and let them know what it's going for. And so if everybody does something kind of similar, not similar in content, but similar in what they're thinking about how we use the money and, what it goes for, then it comes, the four of us touch them 3 times a year with our thank yous, and we all present something that's a little more personal than the exact same thing every single month when we get a new donation.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Because then all 4 of us can have kind of like our shtick.
Right.
As well. So I like it.
Cool. Anybody want to volunteer for March, since it's almost March?
I mean, I could still take March.
You sure with the
Yeah, it's fine.
activation? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
If
They'll
you see me slacking by the 15th, just text me and be like, "Hey."
Well, what's
But
funny
I should
is
have a day off every week.
I got you, Jasmine.
all of our recurring are backloaded for the end of the month. It's kind of funny. We have like nothing for the first 15 days, and then all of the recurring happen in the latter half of the month. I think they were all set up at previous business meetings.
Yeah, mine was set up, I think, during a business meeting.
Yeah. So it's funny because it's the end of the month. There are just a ton of them, and then nothing at the beginning. So, it gets us through.
That works. I was gonna say that, or like if like we can see a list, we can kind of go down until it changes, until they stop recurring.
Well, and some of them go they try multiple times. I don't know why, but they do. Sometimes it isn't until
Pay
the
period
third
for
poll.
them, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll have it forwarding to you starting the 1st of March.
Okay.
And then anybody want to volunteer for April?
Yeah, I'll take
Hey.
April.
Oh, well, you guys can fight it out. Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper,
All right.
scissors.
All
All right.
right.
Well, yeah, but Camilo is going to win no matter what, because he's not even on video.
Wait, Camilo, can you see us on video, or are you just calling in?
No, I can see you. Yeah, it's just my forward, or I guess the selfie camera, it's called. I don't know. Is cracked right at the screen. So if I turn it on, it looks like I'm under the sea or something.
You could have like Nate write what he's gonna throw down, and then you can say it, and Nate can just throw it up.
How about if I just make the executive decision to have Nate do it in April and Camila do it in May?
Second that.
I mean that works, but the battle royale sounded a lot more fun.
I know. We just don't, we don't have time for a battle royale today.
Non-aggression, guys.
All right. So Nate, I'll start them sending to you. April, Camilo, I'll start sending them to you in May. And they'll come back to me in June. So got the thank yous. We now have, since Jasmine will not physically be present, I figured I would just continue setting up the coffee talks through June, which is the end of the 4 months that you talked about, the 120-day activation.
Okay.
I've already kind of got somebody lined up for May and for June. So that makes it super easy for me because now we know that we kind of want to do it on the second Saturday, and we'll be able to go ahead and figure out those dates and those folks. And so it looks like it would be just Mears in May and Hesham Elma. I forget his last name. I have to look it up. But he would be from Muslims for Liberty. He would be June.
That would be cool. Okay.
And then, I mean, I can just go through my Rolodex if you want. Or, oh, how old of me? I can go through my contact list and.
You say Pokédex?
No, I said Rolodex.
I like Pokédex.
I'm surprised. I'm
Rolodex.
surprised someone else in this group besides me knew what a Rolodex was. I'm honestly a little shocked.
You know what?
I know a Pokédex from Pokemon.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it just to make you feel old. What's
Thanks,
a
Nate.
Rolodex?
I was thinking the same thing, even though I'm like 10 years older than Nate.
I know what they are too.
I don't know what they are.
How do you not know what they are?
Is it
How
like a
my
Pokédex?
grandma operates.
No.
Nate, is it like a Pokédex?
All right,
No,
so
it's
it's
like
this
a-
beautiful feat of mechanical engineering where you basically
is.
take a ring, you put some more plastic around it so it stands up by itself, and you take these little cards and they go on the ring, and each card has
And
its
you
own
turn it.
contact. You
Right.
turn it, and gravity does the thing, because I don't know how gravity works, and you can see the contact.
So it's like a little black book, but in a roller,
But
like a
it
toilet paper
rolls.
roll.
It rolls.
Yeah, exactly.
not
It's like a
always
toilet paper roll
little.
of contacts basically like cell phone era. So this was
Yes.
like, you know, 70s, 80s.
Little black
80s.
books. Because I know the little black
No,
books. My dad
They
still
were
uses
concurrent.
those.
They were
Okay.
concurrent with the little black book. The Rolodex was the more office focused thing. You would like staple or tape a business card to one of the cards in the Rolodex. So you would just turn it. They were all in alphabetical order. You would just turn it to the
So
letter
much
that you
work.
wanted and the card that you wanted, and then have all of their contact info. You know, back when business cards were also a thing.
Those are still a thing in Japan.
Mm.
That's when you introduce people, you give each other your business card. Everybody, for some reason, no matter what your occupation is, has a business
one.
card.
Yeah, I mean, we also export Americans to
should do that.
Japan to tell them which ideas are good and which ideas are bad, but, you know.
Mhm.
I like
So
anime.
yeah. So now that we've had this, bunny trail on
Sorry.
Rolodex, so yeah, we'll go through and utilize our
Cards.
opportunity here with the virtual coffee talks, and if we have contact, I mean, just if you guys don't want me to go through my contact list and you've got somebody that you want, just
All right, go for
let's
it.
just schedule them. Yeah, second Saturday, 9 a.m. We drink coffee. They talk for 20 to 30 minutes. We have Q&A after. They're welcome to stay after the Q&A. Everybody else is just going to hang out and continue, I imagine, with a second cup by then. And family-friendly kind of stuff.
I was also going to say, if we want to do weekend socials that are family friendly, we can maybe kind of do it to where they're after or like right after the coffee talks. That way they can come to like a social around lunchtime or something. That way we're already there if like we're there sharing a computer or something in person, or have like our own phones up. That way we're not trying to stack too much in like the same week, because second Saturday sounds good for any social event.
Right.
You guys are cool with that. So
Yep.
I don't know if that means like eventually moving the coffees up like a half hour or something. That way like socials are like 10 to 12 or anything like that, or well, I guess they'd be like 11 to 12 or something right after the coffee talk. But I guess that's something for like we can think about later on when we start doing in person.
Yeah.
But stacking
Another suggestion I had too, I went to something called Egg Fest last weekend. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's a thing that is put on by the company that, well, not put on by the companies, put on by local companies, but it's like a cooking competition. So you have to cook on a big green egg, which is like the thing, you can make whatever you want. And then people come by and sample it. And then all of the donations that are collected go to the Boys and Girls Club. And they do it all over the state of Florida. And so they have ones like, we can participate with other parties too, like Hillsborough or Pasco, when they have the ones within our area, to go to these things, set up a tent, and help raise money for Boys and Girls Club, but also have a huge presence. Because even with COVID, there was at least 1,000 people at this place within the 2 hours that I was there. So, a lot of exposure, and people are already there donating to a good cause. Why not talk to them about our cause and how we can help them? And it might be something that might be, that we can look into that might be beneficial for us.
Okay. I like it. There's a chat message. Who is this? Oh, it's Jeff.
That was me. That was like 20 minutes ago.
I just saw the notification. All right. Was there anything else that we wanted to cover, discuss before we open up member comment again? All right. Marcia, was there anything that you wanted to share now that we're at the end of the officer meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing, sorry. Given that I'm still sort of waiting for things to play out on the bigger scene before sort of knowing what I want to do. So one thing to keep in mind is the power of surveys, that while we're sort of waiting for COVID restrictions to disappear, which I think they will be soon, using MailChimp to send out a survey of some kind with some questions, especially just to try to see who communicates back and what they might come to. And, I don't know, you can get creative with surveys, but I want.
They actually just rolled out surveys within MailChimp.
You what?
They actually just rolled out surveys as a part of the service that they offer. Like in the last 2 weeks.
Who's they?
MailChimp has done that.
And what we provide the questions, is that it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would be able to utilize their survey functionality with our list.
Wow. So does that interest you to do that?
It could be interesting. I really want to clean up the data. We've had a bunch of unsubscribes from people who are registered NPA that just are not interested in what we're sending out. And so I think it would probably behoove us to remove them. But there are not a lot of email addresses when it comes to people who are registered LPF in terms of what they include in their, like my email address is not included in my voter file. My phone number is not included in my voter file either. So, and I think that there are a lot of libertarians like that who aren't necessarily wanting to be on a list and have their contact information and the like be associated with their voter file. And you can actually, I found out when I looked through, you can actually have, if you request it through the state, you can actually have your entire voter file removed. It will just be asterisks. And I noticed that there are, like I did a quick check for our sitting congressman for this district, and his is not available. So I imagine he's one of those asterisked out people on the voter file, as is Governor DeSantis.
Okay, so to me, that part of our challenge is how to actually get in touch with and in communication with our local libertarians.
Well, that's the information that we have generally. Well, the information we have for everybody is an address here in Pinellas County. There are 11 people who are registered LPF that do not share their voter data with the state, or do not allow the state to share their voter data. So it's literally just a voter ID number and then a bunch of asterisks for their information.
That's a pretty small percentage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but we can reach out via mail, which is the most effective based on the data that we're able to get.
Yeah, so I'm all for that, and I would love to see what is planned to be sent out before it's sent out. I'd love to have a look-see and see if there's anything I would want to say about it. Because when you're spending the kind of postage money, you want it to be really good,
Well, the good news is we'd be only sending out to an 11th of the county at a time.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 220, 240-ish at a time.
Good. So that means we could send something out, and then depending on what comes back or not, we can tweak it before we send it out to the next group, right?
Well, no, we would actually be doing a mass print.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So that we got discounts, because I mean, to run 240 printed pieces is not going to be very cost effective. But if we can run 5,000 printed pieces, use 2,800 of them for this particular voter data project where we're reaching out, and then use the others for some, as handouts as we're at an event.
Okay.
That would probably get us a pretty decent price with any printer at the 5,000 postcard price point.
Yeah. Okay. Then the main, again, my tendency is to think, let's do a lot of planning and get a lot of things like you guys are getting done, and the Zoom thing, that's great. So that when the restrictions go away, we're just out of the gate like a shot. And that's why we need that booth, so that we can, because that's one of the best ways. I've done booths before where there's a lot of people walking by, and boy, you just get in communication with them, and you have your clipboard and get them to give you their email and their, this and that and the other, and just, get in their face and get in communication. People like to communicate. And especially if by the time we do that, the whole worldwide scene politically and all that will have played out, and we'll know. It'll be much easier to figure out a pitch. Say, now that things are better, let's just move it forward towards a libertarian government on all levels, And then I'll be, at that point, I'll be pushing my study party thing. Okay.
Now, do we have demographics on that voter data that we have? Because I'll tell you, like, people in my age group, and probably, I think maybe Jasmine or Nate could attest to this too, maybe even you, Brett. But I know that when I get surveys, the only time I take them is if I am pissed off or trying to help somebody out or something like that. So maybe the mailers accompanied. I don't know about the survey.
So those are two different ideas. There's the mail to the voters that we know that we've identified as LPF, and then there's sending digital surveys through MailChimp. So those are two different ideas there, Camilo.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying, like, strategies.
They're already friendly to us.
Yeah, just strategies to kind of get more engagement from our active party base. Those that are registered LP. I think. I think the idea of the segmented, the 11 segments and seeing what is going to work is going to help us. But like you said, we are going to have to get them to print, or agree to 5,000, but they might be able to tweak little things here and there along the way and say, okay, well, these little things are going to help us, instead of like a big, huge postcard, or maybe a bigger postcard stands out more and it gets more traction. We can find out those things along the way, and hopefully the printer can work with us to kind of tweak those things. I think that's going to be really effective, because I'll tell you, if I get a notice for a survey, I ignore it completely.
Oh yeah, this would be something that would come by email.
I have an idea for surveys.
Yeah.
So instead of necessarily trying to get everybody an email, especially because I feel like when we email too many certain people, they just unsubscribe. Another idea could also be that we bring surveys to our socials, because we have a lot of people who show up to our socials that aren't necessarily, at our meetings. So we can get a lot more people at our socials as well to fill out surveys, even like new people at the socials, things like that. And any other type of like event, like where we have like a booth or float or anything like that, we can either bring hand copies, or maybe if we even invest in like a cheap tablet, we can have like a link to the survey, and also maybe even put that link on our website and on our social media pages. So like people at will can like see like, oh, I can go fill out a survey while I'm browsing the website, or like while I'm going through their Facebook page, and then like click. So like even people that may not be on our list, they can go in and like one of the questions could be like, you know, if you're registered LPF, that way we know if it's from like our base or not.
Yeah.
And then give them the option to like put in like their contact info or like their name and stuff or where they live. Maybe make those fields like optional, but make it so that like obviously like not everybody's going to see their personal information. Oh, looks cool, yeah. But yeah, like I think, yeah, instead of just, you know, trying to mail them out, like we stick a link to like our surveys, you know, on all of our sites and social media. That way, like it's just open, and instead of like, here's a survey, so they're like, oh, here's an optional survey link. Like, yeah, I feel like doing a survey. So like maybe it'll attract a little bit more people as well.
So when it comes to surveys, one of the things that I found is very effective is that you either do one very long survey or you do multiple single question surveys. Those are the two ways that you actually get participation.
Yeah, as long as we're, you know, clearly defining, you know, like what it is that we're looking for from this data, and that the questions are very specific. Because if we leave it too open, because I remember a few years back there being this big to do because they were trying to name some kind of a I think it was a spaceship or something like that. Anyways, like Spacey
was a boat.
McSpace was like
Yeah,
the
it was
top
Bodie
thing because-
McBoatface.
Yeah, exactly. Because people will be able to do what they want. So we want to make sure that we, you know, are actually capturing the data we want to capture and being very specific in our questions.
I think we should also allow for short answer, because sometimes their answer isn't maybe what they're trying to tell you isn't on par with like your questions. So like something that's open for short answer, that way they can kind of type out whatever it is like they feel like we need to know.
Sure. And we certainly have plenty of people that want to tell us their opinion on pretty much any topic.
Libertarians.
All right, guys. So it looks like we've hit everything that was on the agenda. Is there anything else we wanted to add, talk about, chat about? I imagine that next week we'll actually be able to talk about it in Slack and people can watch our conversations. So yeah, anything we want to, so we'll basically have a continuous 24/7 meeting. So exciting.
Yeah, as long as you guys can let me know if I don't respond right away in the email while I'm gone, just somebody text me or something, send me the Slack link, so I'll download and get right on that.
Sounds good. All right, guys, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Any second? All right.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned.